Patreon subscribers. Hope you're doing okay. You had a nice weekend. Gold's now flipped to sell. We're currently 50-50, but we just tipped over to sell at the static level. The profitable traders are long, so we have to pay attention to that. They have been very good. This is the 200 MA, but I use it on the daily, and we can see we've got support on the daily, and we can see we've got support on the hourly as well. But we are below weekly open, so that's of note. So we have to do the weekly open to SLC, right? And then possibly SLC back up there again. And we've got the CPI tomorrow, so I think it's going to be the liquidity probe. It will be worth doing the video tomorrow, but do note that there's probably going to just rubber band, and it's going to want to be taking stops out, especially gold, because of the inflation narrative included in that instrument. So probably down, and then you could look for a long to take the SLC. So one, wait for that to break, and then you're looking for that. And then once we've got that, then you can look for a short at the technical resistance. So I think gold's going to be very naughty, quite well supported on the hourly, well supported on the daily. And so I think it's going to be a liquidity probe, and again, and then I don't know what's going to happen after that one. So 1, 2, 3, and then that would be the trade to the Friday. That's probably what will happen. We'll come down to test the weekly open, and how we land at the end of the week, above or below, will set the precedence for next week. Start with gold. We'll start with the pound from a currency perspective. There's your monthly pivot. Very, very important level. 121.12. SLC 121.50. One below is at 120.50. So wait for monthly pivot to break, and you're looking to get the SLC. Monthly pivot to weekly open is a good trade, 30 pips, and you've got your weekly open to SLC, which is 30 pips. So if you're, you can have some tight stops, 10 pip stop or something, and looking for a 30 pip TP. It's a 3R trade, so you can use your monthly pivot as a decent level to work off. That's going to be a decent trade. That's going to be an okay trade, and then that's going to be a better trade there to get the SLC. And that's that. So do note monthly pivot. It's a huge level. I think we probably are going to be above it by the end of the week, but we might want to come down and take some liquidity first. But there is not many stops below compared to the one above, so it would be quite cruel if we took the one below, but it can happen. But really looking at the sizes, it should be taking the one above. So look for a monthly pivot break to target SLC, I think. EU, I think. We'll try and keep it fairly short. We'll just look at EU, GU and AU, and then we'll look at dollar Swiss and dollar yen. 107.50, there's your monthly pivot, right? So that's going to be the trade. You're going to target the SLC. That's going to be a stop. Below your monthly pivot, you're going to target the weekly open, and then below the weekly open, you're going to target SLC. So lots of opportunities. Just got to know your exit, okay? So that's going to be the likely scenario, up first, and then possibly test, then possibly grab that as well. We've got a big old day tomorrow for the CPI. Fundamentally speaking, there's no chance of a 50 basis point hike from the Fed next week. No chance at all, zero. And there's a much greater chance of a 25 basis point hike. And there's a very, very slim chance of they're just going to sit on their hands. So that should boost Euro versus USD, and it should boost the pound, USD, Aussie, etc., because of that fundamental narrative that's not really going to push the USD any higher if the Fed are possibly going to sit on their hands. So that's going to weaken the USD. So remember your monthly pivots, really important level. AU. Oh, okay, where are we? Oh, we're still miles below. That's fine. We are pumping a little bit, which is fine. SLC is large, 69.25, 65.60, and I was saying, to trade off the monthly support, decent resistance, decent respect, and we have gone up quite a bit. HL target long, actually. So what's happened is that from last week we really truncated on the volatility, and by doing so last week, the ATR targets are quite narrow. So because of the based on last week's performance, these have been brought closer. So we can probably exceed the ATR target long. That's going to be a challenge to overcome that. But we can overcome it. But this is narrow because of what's happened the week prior. Okay, so that explains that. You can see how pound USD and the Euro USD, their volatility is greater. And so therefore this range is greater from the previous price action. That's fine, I guess. Dollar Swiss. Now this should be falling, and it is, so that's fine. This has been a good trade. We can look at the FXCM client sentiment, and this was a sell, quite strong sell because they're really long. Monthly support 1, and then I guess we can target SLC, which would be here once it populates. I'm thinking 91.10. Oh. Yeah, I was right, wasn't I? Can you see, because it's sticking out more than that one, and that's where you know where to target. So it's quite simple. If they're not loading at all, you can just look at the order book and you can see like the nodes, and that's like the likely destination. So possible destination, because we've broken support, we have to target SLC. Above the support, target SLC. So it's really simple. Dollar yen. And well, big moves. One above. 135.50 weekly open level, do note that, and one below is at 133.45. So trade to monthly pivot, not a great trade to target because it's only 25 pips, so your stop would, you might get stopped out of a tight stop. It might thrash around a monthly pivot, so this would be the better trade. Weekly open to SLC. The monthly pivot to SLC, you're only looking at like 25 pips, so it's probably not worth doing. That's going to be a decent support, I think. We're going to come down to there. If we break monthly pivot, then we can look to target that, but I think this is going to hold. It's a very strong level. If we go below monthly pivot, that's going to be quite interesting, and then we'll definitely target the ATR target short, I think. So it's a big, wow, it's 105 pips. A lot of profit potential for a monthly pivot break to ATR target, and if you have a 20 pip stop, it's a 5-hour trade. It's a 100 pip TP, 20 pip SL. So that's today's video, and so kind of unfortunate that we didn't have a trade of the day today, because the Aussie USD would have been the trade of the day, but we can see how it's really pumped, and that's just how it is. It's just one of those things. I woke up really early today hoping to catch the trade of the day, but of course it had already moved a great deal over Asia. So it's just one of those things. Trade safely, and I'll speak to you guys tomorrow for the CPI. And there won't be a trade of the day tomorrow because of the volatility that comes with that risk event. It's going to be huge, especially with gold and especially with UJ, because it's sensitive to the US yields. And the US yields have fallen on Friday, and today being Monday as well. So trade carefully, and I'll speak to you guys soon.